it's Hope and welcome to the video. This is going to be my August TBR. Now, normally I do my Bookopoly game, but since I'm participating in 2 readathons and in July my reading kind of like, I read a lot of books, but I felt like I wanted to go off my TBR. So this is more of like what I'm reading for the 2 TBRs and then other books I'd like to read as well. And with this is, if I do not read a single book on this list, that is perfectly fine. If I read every single book on this list, that is also fine. I just wanted to make this video so that I could try to hold myself accountable for reading some of these, but I might decide halfway through the month to throw all the books off the TBR. So the first readathon I'm participating in, I'm actually a host of one of the teams, is Witchathon, which is created by Sam from Yarn Reader. I'll leave her channel linked below. Anybody I mention, I'll leave linked below. What Witchathon is, it's a team-based readathon taking part from August 1st to September 5th. And basically you read books to fit your team's bingo board prompts, you submit the books into a form, and whatever team has the highest number of average page count, that coven leader or team leader gets to pick a book for the other teams, like team leaders, to read in September. And so I am the team leader for the Hedge Coven. The bingo board is here. And then there is also Sam from Yarn Reader, who is the coven leader for the solo witches. Books and Things with Alicia, who is the coven leader for the traditional witches. Katie from Kit Kats Can Read, being the coven leader for the Crystal Coven. We have Kim from Whimsical Narratives, doing the Kitchen Witches, and Morgan from Morgan's Bookshelves, being the coven leader for the Cosmic Coven. I will leave all of their channels, I'll leave all of their announcement videos down below if you haven't heard of this and are interested. I'm pretty sure all of their videos goes through all their prompts, all of that. I think the only announcement video I haven't watched is Kim's. It's on my watch later. I will probably be watching it before this video goes up. But, so I'm just going to go through the prompts on my bingo board and what I have picked. I am doubling, tripling, whatever up. You're allowed to do that. And I'm also not going to talk about these books into too much detail because I have 22 books to talk about. We're going to be here all day if I explain them in full detail. So the first prompt is paranormal, and for this I'm reading Raven's Song by Charlie Nottingham. This is the sequel to Raven's Cry, and this is paranormal because we have witches, fae, and vampires, and essentially we follow Rain, who she gets hired to basically like be rid of ghosts from this manor, and it is a adult paranormal reverse harem. I'm realizing I forgot to put this on my August/September releases because this comes out August 16th, so I'll be reading it in like the second half of the month, but I'm really excited because I loved the first one. For time travel, this one was difficult, but then I remember a book that was originally on my July TBR that I'm chucking to my August TBR. I will say a little wrap up for July that I forgot to mention is I read all but one book, and then I switched out another one because I'm implementing a rule to my game where I'm allowed to make one switch of a book. So I did that, and I'll explain that rule a little bit more in the next time I play my game. But honestly, with my game, I'm just kind of like, I don't want to take that many punishments, so I'm not. But for time travel, Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver, this we technically follow, Samantha, which is funny because that's Sam's name. But we follow Samantha, who basically, she gets 7 chances to live the last day of her life to make changes that saves her life, I think. Yeah, she will untangle the mysteries surrounding her death and discover the true value of everything she's in danger of losing. And so I'm counting as time travel because living the same day over and over again, I think it's living the same day for 7 days, that's a form of time travel in my opinion. Also, we're allowed to stretch these prompts as much as we want, and I'm stretching it to fit this. For the prompt, set in nature, I'm going to be reading The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. This, I'm technically 45% in, but I'm counting because I'm not past the 50%. This I started in June, never continued it, and now I'm going to try to continue it because it fits a lot of the prompts. But essentially, The Nature of Witches, basically, we are in a world where witches control the climate, almost, and basically we're following our character who is working with her magic and like all of that. I'm struggling to describe this book, but again, basic what these books are about. Next, for spicy book, Raven Song by Charlie Nottingham. The first book was spicy. This book, I've seen some teasers on the author's TikTok, and definitely gonna also be spicy. For green book, The Nature of Witches, that has a bit of green on the cover. Next we have a quest, which is The Sea of Monsters by Rick Riordan. This is the second book in the Percy Jackson series, and Morgan and I are doing the Riordan along, where we are reading Rick Riordan's books, and this is August's book. So I kind of had to get it on my TBR somewhere because we are doing a live show sometime in September for this book. For brown book, The Nature of Witches. For witchy book, The Nature of Witches. For priestess fave, The Nature of Witches, because this is Kim from Whimsical Narratives, like one of her priestess faves. I think it's like one of her favorite books, which is why I kind of feel obligated to finish it, because I didn't know how much she loved it until after I put it down, so now I'm like, okay, I have to finish it because she loves it. So I'm hoping that I love it. I mean, I did like what I read, but I just was distracted by other things. For ebook, I will be reading Raven Song by Charlie Nottingham because this will be on Kindle Unlimited, therefore I can read it as an ebook. For fantasy, I'm putting Covet by Tracy Wolff on here. This is the third book in the Crave series, where essentially in the first book, Crave, we follow Grace, who ends up having to go to this boarding school in Alaska ran by her uncle, and little does she know that there are paranormal creatures that are at this school. And yeah, I'm currently in the middle of book 2 in that series, loving it, so I will definitely be wanting to continue. For book club read, the Late Night Bookwarming Book Club, which is a book club that I am a co-host for. August book is Year the Reaper by Micaiah Lucier. I could be pronouncing that wrong, but this was December 2021's Fairy Loot. And this, I don't know much about. Basically, there is a lord that disappeared, comes back a few years later, and things are happening in the castle. There's an assassin. I don't know. It's a standalone fantasy, and I mean, I paid for it because I paid for Fairy Loot, therefore I should probably get around to reading it, which is why I suggested this for the book club, and it won the poll pick for the book club. So yeah, I will leave the Late Night Bookwarming Twitter down below, as well as the information for the Riordan along. I'm realizing I'm gonna have a bunch of stuff to put in the description, but oh well. And then for the free space, you don't have to read anything, so that's fine. For buddy read, I'll be picking The Sea of Monsters because technically it's a buddy read because it's for a read-along. I count that as a buddy read. For poll pick, I've already mentioned Year of the Reaper is a poll pick. So, yeah. Plants on the cover. For the longest time, I read this as planets on the cover. I apparently can't read. But plants on the cover, The Nature of Witches, because there's the leaves, which come from plants, and then also the green in the background looks kind of like grass, so we're calling that a plant. A pretty cover is Shattered Souls by Beck Michaels. This is a third book in the Guardians of the Maiden series, which is a upper YA fantasy series that I love. This book comes out on August 30th, but I'm fairly certain I am a part of the ARC team because I was for the previous 2 books, which are actually right there. And so, yeah, if not, I will probably binge it on like the first week of September, as soon as it comes out, because it will be on Kindle. So if I'm not part of the ARC team, which again, I'm pretty sure I am, I will find that out, I think, the beginning of August, if I am or not. But yeah. For TBR Vet is Enders by Alyssa Price. This is the sequel to Starters, and this is like a dystopian sci-fi. I've had this on my shelf for over 2 years, so TBR Vet. And it finishes off a duology, so like might as well finish a series. So yeah. For Fae book, Ravensong, as one of the characters is a Fae, and like we talk about the Fae world that he comes from and all that. Anticipated read, Shattered Souls. I've been waiting for this since book 2, Bonded Fate, came out. So like I anticipated one of my like most anticipated books for the rest of the year. For mystery, Verity by Colleen Hoover. I know nothing except it's kind of like a mystery. It's Colleen Hoover. My friend Mac read this in July. She read it in literally like 8 hours, loved it, and so I'm planning on reading it, because it was meant to be a buddy read, but I haven't read it yet. But yeah. Also, a book that makes you think. I'm counting Verity because mystery will make you think about the mystery elements, and also it's Colleen Hoover, so it will make you think quite a bit. For 300 plus pages, Covet by Tracy Wolff. This book is like 600 and some pages, so definitely more than 300. I think most of the books on my TBR are over 300, so I can just count any of those. For Smoky Cover, Ravensong, because there's a little bit of smoke in the background. I'm counting it. And a difficult read, Covet by Tracy Wolff, because it is, I think according to Goodreads, at least the hardcover is 680 pages, which is a lot. So that is kind of going to be a difficult read, as in like, it's going to take me a while to read. Then I'm also taking part in the magical, like Orillium, the magical Readathon, created by the wonderful G from Book Roast. I'll leave the announcement video down below, but the like career, the calling that I'm going for is Master of Elements, which is my order's exclusive. So like I am a part of the Order of the Crescents, and that order's like, you have to be in that order to do that calling. And so for that, I'm just going to read the prompts. I'm not really going to care about the other aspects of it, but basically, for Element of Water, start a book with a drink. Any of the books that are mentioned here, I can count it as that. Wind redirection, point at a random book and read the book adjacent to it. I made a list of all the books that I wanted to read, randomly kind of like scrolled up and down the page, and then pointed to a book with my eyes closed, and I can't remember what the book was that I got, but then I, up or down, I can't remember what it was, but I went one of the directions and got We Will Always Have Summer by Jenny Han. This is the third book in the Summers trilogy. The first book is The Summer I Turned Pretty, which has a Amazon show. It's pretty popular. It's just kind of like a fun summer read, and I figured August is like the last month of summer. Might as well complete the series with that. For Wave Manipulation, a sea setting, Stormbreak by Natalie C. Parker, which is a sequel to Seafire, which this kind of like, most of it takes place on a ship. We're following like a group of female pirates as shit's happening, and that's all I really can explain. I'm finally finishing this series. I borrowed this from my library because I'm broke and cannot afford to buy it. But I'm so excited to continue this because it's been almost a year since I read book 2, therefore some details are starting to slip away. For Formation of Wings, Wings on the cover, Ravensong by Charlie Nottingham, because it has the birds, therefore it has wings. For Study of Familiars, a book with a familiar or animal companion, I'm counting Blackjack from Sea of Monsters, which is a character that, which is a Pegasus that our characters meet, I think towards the end of the book, but basically it ends up being an animal companion for the rest of the series, kind of. So I'm counting it, but it's kind of stretching, but also I don't think any of the other books that I have on my TBR have an animal companion, so stretching this. And for object restoration, a single object as the focus on the cover. Covet by Tracy Wolf. It obviously just has the one thing on the cover, therefore that is a single focus on the cover. And there's some other books that I'd also love to read, so those I'm just going to rapid fire, not explain them at all. So Heartbones by Colleen Hoover, a buddy read with my friends Mac and Reese on Discord. A Destiny of Dragons by TJ Klune. This is the second book in the Tales of Rhaenia series. I'm currently reading book 1, but I'm reading this for the Klune Along, hosted by Clint from Reed's Reader. I'll leave the announcement video down below. Conclave by Penelope Douglas. This is the 3.5 novella in the Devil's Night series. I read book 2 and 3 in July, and I really want to continue the series. The Feeling of Falling in Love by Mason Deaver. This comes out on the 16th. But I have an ARC and I'd love to get it read before then. I literally almost screamed when I got approved for the ARC, so I'd love to get that read. Spellcaster by Carolyn Schultz. This is the sequel to Spellbound, and this like duology is Morgan from Morgan's Bookshelf, like one of her favorite like series. So I'm gonna try to read book 2 this month because I read book 1 in June. Lore and Lust by Carla Nicole. This is a smutty book club that I'm a part of, the pick for August. This isn't that smutty, I've heard, but like it's more of like the tension, but it's kind of short. It's on Kindle Unlimited, so yeah. Then we have Forging Silver into Stars by Bridget Kemmer. This is the first book in the spin-off series of the Cursebreaker series. And so I've been wanting to read it since it came out, and my hold for my library finally came in the other day. So I'm going to try to squeeze it into August, but it's like 500 pages, so I'm not sure. Unravel Me by Tahara Mafi. This is July's pick for the Late Night Bookworming Book Club, but I haven't gotten to it yet, so this is probably one of the first books I read in August. The Darkness Outside of Us by Elliot Schrieffer. This is the group book for August for the Avengers Initiative Reading Challenge, which is like a reading challenge for, it was all of 2021 and all of 2022, and so that's the book. I'm going to try to get to it because I haven't read a single group book this year, so I'm going to try to get to this because I've heard great things, and this is on my 5-star prediction list because I've only heard amazing things about it. The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab. This is for the Schwab Along, which is like a read-along of V.E. Schwab's books that's starting in August, and I loved the Shades of Magic series, and then I really enjoyed the 2 Cassie Blake novels by V.E. Schwab that I've read, so I kind of want to read more of her books, and this is a perfect excuse to read it. And then also Morgan from Morgan's Bookshelf is reading The Foxhole Court, and I'm like, this is one of my favorite series, so I'm gonna buddy read it with you. So I will also be reading this, which also means I'll probably be reading book 2 and book 3 in September. So I already have my September TBR planned of those 2 books. This one I'm like, if I don't get it read, I did a reread in April, so not that long ago, so it's not like I need to read it. So yeah, I think that's all the books I plan on reading. I could be missing some, but that's at least all the ones I want to read. Again, if I don't read them all, that is a-okay. But let me know what are some books that you're reading in August, or if you are reading any of these. I'd love to hear your thoughts about any of these books in the comments below, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. Bye!